Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
Compliance with the rules of the road, the main condition for comfortable and safe driving. One of the most important tools of regulation are signs that prescribe or prohibit certain actions. Below, we will consider the features of the sign, stopping forbidden, study the meaning of the rule assigned to it, and the meaning of additional signs. Stopping prohibited designates a place or section of the road on which it is forbidden to stop the vehicle. Depending on the accompanying signs and the place of placement, stopping is prohibited before or after the symbol. In any case, it is not allowed to stop the vehicle in this place. In most cases, the symbol is placed in front of the plot so that its legal effect begins at the place of installation. In some cases, however, a slightly different interpretation is implied due to the presence of additional signs or markings. Type of sign. Among all existing road signs, the element 3.27 is one of the brightest and most noticeable. This is done specifically so that drivers can see the designation from a great distance and adjust their plans in accordance with the traffic rules. The sign looks like a blue painted circle with a red border and a cross of the same color in the middle. The appearance is quite unambiguous, but sometimes this element is confused with the sign, "Parking is prohibited." It does have some similarities, however. Instead of a full-fledged cross in the middle of the second sign, a single strip of red color is used. Rule 3.37, stopping forbidden, on its principle turns out to be a more serious restriction because it prohibits not only full-fledged parking, but also elementary stopping for a short time. Usually the sign works independently, indicating the prohibition in a certain place. However, in some cases it is supplemented with special tables that allow a more precise interpretation of the rule. Designation. The sign, stopping forbidden, is a full-fledged addition to the traffic rules. It clearly prohibits stopping a vehicle on a certain section of the road, and it does not matter for how long this stop is carried out. The designation is actively used in a variety of places, allowing you to organize traffic on the roads and prevent the creation of interference from standing cars. To understand this rule, it is worth first determining what is meant by the term stopping the car. Stopping means stopping movement for up to 5 minutes. At this point, the vehicle can be unloaded or work with a passenger. But braking for more than 5 minutes can already be defined as a full-fledged parking. If there is a parking forbidden sign on a certain road section, stopping the vehicle for a period not exceeding 5 minutes is permissible. Otherwise, the driver risks a fine. But stopping is prohibited indicates the prohibition of even a short-term cessation of movement. And ignoring the prohibition will inevitably lead to collisions with the authorities and penalties. Where exactly the sign in question applies. If an element is located only on one side of the road, you must not brake on that side. This applies both to the shoulder and various islands and sidewalks. But on the other side of the roadway, which does not have this sign, you can stop. Read also, moving on the car without a driver's license. Legal responsibility, and the size of the fine like many other road signs. The symbol 3.27 begins to act directly from the place of its installation. To indicate the end of the sign, additional symbols 3.31 are used, indicating the abolition of restrictions. Also, by analogy with other signs, stopping is prohibited, is valid only up to the first intersection. In the absence of intersections, the rule works up to the exit from a particular settlement. In some cases, instead of a special sign that removes restrictions, the same symbol, stopping forbidden, is installed with a small clarifying plate under it. It provides information that immediately after the sign the rule on the prohibition of vehicle braking is no longer valid. Separately, it should be remembered that in places where the main road intersects with various exits or secondary roads, which do not create intersections, there is no interruption of the sign. Of course, all of this is true in the absence of a special sign to authorize stopping, meaning of the auxiliary sign with arrows. In some cases, the standard sign, stopping is prohibited, is additionally accompanied by a small sign with arrows. The arrow can be directed up or down, thus indicating the direction of the rule. Sometimes a number equal to the number of meters at which the rule operates is also provided next to it. A downward pointing arrow is Table 8.2. 3 and indicates that the car must not be braked immediately before the marking. Beyond it, the zone begins, on which you can safely brake without the risk of receiving penalties. Often such a sign is installed to mark the end of the zone of the rule. Thus, it is not allowed to stop between the two elements, but beyond them. A sign with an upward pointing arrow often also has numerical symbols indicating the distance. In this case, stopping is prohibited immediately after the sign and at the number of meters indicated. And usually it turns out to be much less than the distance to the nearest intersection. For example, the sign, "Stopping is forbidden," together with an upward pointing arrow and the number 100 clearly prescribes a ban on stopping at a distance of 100 meters after the sign. Separately, it is worth noting the sign, which shows a double arrow in both directions. This is a kind of reminder, which indicates the continuation of the sign. Usually the symbol is installed on sufficiently long sections, on which there is a risk of forgetting about the previously seen sign. As a supplement to the sign in question, road marking 1.4 is often used, which is a solid yellow line along the edge of the roadway. Thus, the prohibition to stop will be valid for the entire length of this line. It will be possible to stop the car only after the marking or the corresponding sign. Well, in all cases, the ban is lifted at the exit to organized parking, marked with the symbol P on a blue background. Read also, functions, capabilities and features of the start-stop system additional designations. Sometimes the standard 3.27 sign is also accompanied by other signs that explain and clarify the rule. For example, an evacuation sign clearly indicates that stopping in the place where the sign is valid will result in the car being taken to a parking lot. There may be signs with the image of specialized transport by type and the word "except." This means that the prohibition in question applies to all vehicles other than those specified. The same applies to signs with the symbol of a disabled person. In this case, all other motorists fall under the action of the sign, while disabled people can stop. On some road sections, the sign is accompanied by an indication of the days of the week or certain hours of the day, more specifically, defining the time of the rule. In this case, stopping is only allowed during hours that do not fall within the specified interval. In particular, a red snowflake indicates the effect of the sign on weekends and holidays, while two black colored hammers indicate that stopping is prohibited on weekdays. It is not uncommon to see a sign under which several signs, time of action, length, etc., are placed at once. And here it is important to learn how to correctly read the information provided, so that later you do not face extremely unpleasant consequences of violations. Liability for violations. Sign 3.27 is a full-fledged addition to the existing traffic rules and implies liability for violations. The regulations for assigning liability are prescribed by Article 12.19 of the Code of Administrative Offenses, violation of the rules of stopping and parking. In some cities of Russia, such a violation may entail a warning from law enforcement officers or a fine of 500 rubles. In large cities, the amount is much higher. For example, in Moscow and St. Petersburg, you will have to pay 2,500 rubles for ignoring the rules. If the car stopped in the wrong place has become a serious obstacle for other cars, the amount of the fine will be 2,000 or 3,000 rubles, depending on the region. It is important to remember that leaving a car in the place of action of the sign, "Stopping forbidden," often becomes the reason for the car's evacuation with subsequent expenses for the payment of the tow truck and parking lot. In the capital for this, you will have to pay at least 6,450 rubles. The likelihood of this happening is especially high near signs that have a corresponding additional designation. Sign 3.27, "Stopping is prohibited," is a rather strict restriction, ignoring which will lead to quite large financial costs. At the same time, it fulfills the most important function, preventing traffic jams, congestion, accidents, and similar inconveniences on the road. In conclusion, understanding the specifics of the stopping forbidden sign 3.27 is crucial for all road users. This sign not only indicates areas where stopping is prohibited, but also highlights the importance of adhering to these regulations. to ensure safety and smooth traffic flow. The area of validity for this sign can vary, so it is essential to pay attention to any accompanying signage or markings. Violating this rule can lead to significant penalties, including fines and potential legal repercussions. By respecting these regulations, we contribute to safer roads for everyone. Thank you for watching, and stay informed to drive responsibly.